Good afternoon. This is cause number 2021-10363 in the interest of Azari Ogwin. All parties and witnesses, please raise your right hands to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, please state your name, ma'am, and your relationship to the child. You can put your hand down.
Oh, my name is Jasmine Jackson, and I'm her mother.
Okay, and representing the Attorney General State of Texas.
Andrea Eoff.
Court will note that Corey Dante, probably Cockrill, is the non-custodial parent that he was personally served on February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2022 at 11:41 a.m. at 701 North San Jacinto Street in Houston, Harris County, Texas, and he has not filed an answer or made an appearance. Is that correct, Ms. Eoff?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, then we'll proceed by default.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, before we begin, I'd like to ask that you admit what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit A. It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics report on salaries for psychiatric aides.
Ms. Jackson, have you had an opportunity to look at this report?
Yes, sir, I have.
Do you have any objections of me admitting that into evidence?
No, sir, I don't.
All right, State's Exhibit A is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'd like to call Ms. Jackson.
All right.
All right, Ms. Jackson, will you unmute? There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Will you state your full name for the record?
Jasmine Jackson.
And-
Go ahead.
Will you state the name and age of your child?
Azari Nashan, she's 7.
All right. And whenever you got pregnant with Azari, you were involved with 2 men, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And whenever you first decided to seek child support, you believed that her father was the man that you had a longer term relationship with, Mr. Ogwin, back in 2015, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, you did DNA testing that excluded him as the father, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And once Mr. Ogwin had been excluded as the father, did you tell Mr. Cockrell that he was likely the father of this child?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And how did he respond?
It was never the same response. I brought it up on more than one occasion.
Mhm.
And he would say, oh, hey, I'll do the DNA test for the best interest of the child. But when it came to, I would get the runaround.
Mhm.
That's the best way I can answer your question.
And so you moved forward by asking that he be ordered to take a DNA test, and he refused to show up for the DNA test. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am, it is. That's correct.
He has refused to participate in this case. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, correct.
But he has made efforts to visit with your child. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And to your knowledge, he has made multiple attempts to visit as far back as 2017 and visited with her as recently as July of 2022. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, it is. Yes, ma'am.
And has he ever given you any money to try to help support her?
No.
Okay. Are you asking that the court declare that Mr. Cockrell is her father and establish the parent-child relationship between them today?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking that the court order her last name to be changed to Cockrell and the birth certificate amended to add him as the father?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. And do you think it's in her best interest if the judge makes you and Mr. Cockrell joint conservators?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you want the judge to order you as the person who designates her primary residence in Harris and contiguous counties?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you want Mr. Cockrell to be ordered to have a standard possession order for visitation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how is your child currently covered for health insurance?
With Medicaid.
And would you like for the court to order you to continue that Medicaid?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What does Mr. Cockrell do for work?
He's basically like a psychiatric, like aide. He helps take care of people that have like mental problems and stuff.
Okay. And did you have a chance to review the report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that we put into evidence earlier?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Yes, ma'am.
And did you see on page 2 that highlighted section that says the average salary for somebody doing that job in Texas is $26,890 a year?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I seen it. Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking the court to use that report as evidence that we should use to impute his income for calculating child support purposes?
Yes, ma'am.
And based on that income, are you asking the court to order him to pay child support in the amount of $369 a month beginning October 1st, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking the court to order him to pay medical support in the amount of $101 a month beginning October 1st, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And are you asking the court to make a judgment against him for retroactive support spanning the time period from February 23rd, 2017 to September 12th, 2022 in the amount of $26,452?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And would you like for that to be paid at $183 a month beginning October 1st, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are comfortable with Mr. Cockrell having your phone number and address, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're comfortable with it being published in this court order?
Yes, ma'am. That's fine.
Okay. Your Honor, I have no further questions and pass this witness.
All right, the court will approve the order submitted. Thank you.